Hey guys, welcome back to Quarter Sports. Thanks for joining the show. All right, so if you didn't know, EA said it was bringing back a college football video game a few weeks ago. And this got a lot of hype on the internet. A lot of people were talking about it on Twitter. I saw a couple YouTube videos about it. It's gonna be the first college football game EA Sports has put out since NCAA Football 14, which released in 2013. So it's gonna be the first college football game since 2013. Um, and now, what's something that's important to note about this is we are not talking about an NCAA game. As you can see here, college football is coming back, but it's just called EA Sports College Football. Why is that notable information? Because the game is not licensed by the NCAA. In the past, all the games that they put out, they said NCAA on them. They were licensed with the NCAA, and I assume EA avoided NCAA as last time around the NCAA got them sued. And so this time they avoided the NCAA license and did the licensing a different way on this game. Thus, it's called EA Sports College Football, not NCAA football. But I knew nonetheless that this game was going to have many legal issues. Uh, Kids in the NCAA are greedy, or at least the ones in the big sports like football, basketball, baseball. And if their name or likeness is in any kind of game, they're going to want some money. This isn't the 90s, early 2000s when it was just cool that, a player with your number was in the game. I mean, it's really ridiculous because I don't think anyone's likeness or name was ever used in an NCAA game. I mean, it was like they had your skin color correct and they had your number correct, and that's about all. That they didn't use anyone's likeness or name or image, except for maybe the players on the front cover of the game. But nonetheless, they still got sued, and a college education just isn't enough for kids these days. And personally, I think that is because that in a lot of these sports like basketball and football, I think a lot of players are getting paid under the table, and there's a lot of suspicious activity that goes around there, and the NCAA doesn't really investigate it. And if they do, they don't investigate it very well. You know, they don't do a very thorough job in investigating it. And so I feel that's led some kids to feel entitled to money whenever college sports game is made with their number uh, on their team is in the game. They want some money for that. Um, and unfortunately for Notre Dame fans, it seems that Jack Sawbrick, who is the Notre Dame athletic director, agrees with these kids. Because today he put out a statement. Notre Dame won't be in the EA Sports college football video game pending NIL rules. What he specifically said was, in a specific statement, he wrote, Notre Dame Athletics welcomes the return of EA College Football, a video game series that has historically helped promote the interest of college football. Notre Dame will not, however, participate in the game until such time as rules have been finalized governing the participation of our student athletes. So, what does that mean? Essentially, he's not saying that they won't be in any future video games, but they're not going to be in this one because the rules do not help Notre Dame athletes make money or benefit off of this video game. And thus, Notre Dame will not be in the game. Um, and then Notre Dame's head coach, Brian Kelly, also put out a statement. Not really a statement. He wrote something on Twitter saying, we are here to support our student athletes, much like we have empowered our players when it comes to providing a platform to speak on racial inequalities and social issues that are important to them. We must support them when it comes to NIL and the work that still needs to be done. So essentially, the players are running the show here, and the athletic director and coach, Brian Kelly, are on board with this. And, 300K in college tuition and a free degree isn't enough for these kids. Free tutoring, getting in the easiest classes possible, not paying a dime of tuition. None of that is good enough for them. Getting a free education and being able to get any job you want because you're essentially a famous college football player with a degree that you didn't pay for. I mean, none of that's good enough. Um, a lot of these kids, I mean, maybe not a lot, but a good chunk of these kids will end up being professional athletes, whether it's in the NFL, XFL, arena football, or even using their knowledge of football to coach football. A lot of these kids will still end up making tons of money through football and their athleticism afterwards. But it doesn't matter. Kids want money now. And unfortunately for Notre Dame fans, it seems Jack Sawbrick, the athletic director, and Brian Kelly, they're on board with that as well. And unless Notre Dame athletes can make money or somehow benefit from being in the game, Notre Dame's just not going to be in the game at all. And Notre Dame is just the first school to come out and say this. I'm sure they won't be the last school who comes out and says they're not going to be in the game. I believe it may have been Rhode Island legislators were trying to say the NCAA can't make money off of certain athletes unless the athletes also make money. So I mean, that was in Rhode Island. So you're going to see other schools across the country probably come out and say something similar. Even in the old NCAA games, we kind of had this problem. The old NCAA games didn't have all the college teams on their games either. I remember, I think the basketball games had more than the football games, but even then, both football and basketball and baseball, all of the NCAA college sports games were missing some schools for reasons such as this. But, bottom line is, I don't think the NCAA college football, I think we're going to get this one game. And that's probably going to be it. There's going to be more lawsuits like O'Bannon versus NCAA. You're going to see some lawsuits like this come out of the college football game that's about to release. And on top of that, you're going to have schools like Notre Dame who decide just not to be in the game. And it's going to be more trouble than it's worth for NCAA. And it probably won't be very profitable. And I think that'll kind of end it, and we won't really have a college football game or college basketball game or college baseball game ever again. And it's unfortunate, but the world is greedy, and this is the world we live in. So it is what it is. Enjoy this college football game because, I don't know, we might not have too many more. This might be the last one. Maybe they'll try to put out one more, two more. I don't know, but it's already not looking sustainable if one college is already opting out of the game. So I don't know. Leave a like, subscribe, comment your opinion on this issue. Again, me personally, I just wish we could go back to the old ways where, a scholarship was enough. You take your scholarship, you play for the school. And, if the NCAA wants to use your number on whatever team you play for and not use your likeness and not use your name and put that in the game, I wish that people would be okay with that and not say, oh, no, you owe me money for that. But apparently that's not the world we live in, and athletic directors and head coaches are getting on board with that issue, and even legislatures. But anyways, this was just kind of a rant, not too much of sports news to cover in this video. More of me ranting on this game, but again, leave a like and subscribe if you liked the video. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on Quarter to Quarter Sports.